What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Swanky Disc Golf Show. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Luke, joined by my co-hosts Reed and Josiah, and today we are going to be fantasy drafting our favorite understable distance drivers of all time. This is a super fun format we get to do here. You might be familiar with other channels or YouTubers that do drafts. Try and imagine like the NBA, NFL draft. We're each going to go down the line, pick a favorite, like our number one draft pick is our absolute favorite, and once we've picked that disc, the other people can't pick the same disc. So it's gonna be super fun. We're gonna talk about some really incredible discs. Hopefully we can introduce some to you guys. Y'all can let us know in the comments what we missed and what your favorite understable distance driver is. Before we jump into it, I wanna give a huge shout out to Disc Golf Deals USA. They've been an awesome sponsor of the channel for a while, and you can use our link in the description to get 10% off of your orders. They have the best prices on the internet for any of your disc golf needs. They also have the best shipping. They're a really awesome US-based company. They have great customer service, and they boast over 30,000 discs in stock at any given moment. They have the craziest inventory. Really, really cool site. If you use our link, you can get 10% off, and you can help support us and of course fulfill all of your disc golf needs. They also have all of the different accessories, products that you need. They have blogs on there that are gonna help you with practice and form, stuff like that. Really sweet website. They're actually helping us out a little bit with this video because when other people pick the discs that I had listed, I'm gonna have to scroll through and find another disc that I like. So they actually have a really convenient, I go to discs, distance drivers, understable distance drivers, and they've got me just like that. You can go, again, to our link in the description to get 10% off. Huge shout out to Disc Golf Deals USA. And if you're enjoying the content, the best way you can support us is subscribe to the channel. This is our new podcast channel. We've only been doing this for a little bit now, and we're actually doing a giveaway, so you can stay tuned to the end of the podcast, and you can go check out our giveaway from this week. We're going to be giving away a disc pretty much every week to start off the podcast. So if you're listening to this on the audio platforms, be sure to hop over to YouTube and enter the giveaway. I want to shout out last podcast giveaway winner. We gave away your choice of an autographed AVR from Greg Barsby or an autographed A2 from Vino Makala. And the winner was JKLE Schultz. That was the username. He won, and he chose the Greg Barsby AVR. So we're going to be getting in touch with him. Stay tuned again to the end of this podcast to see what we're giving away this time. Without any further ado, let's jump into it. How are we doing, boys? Are you guys ready to draft your favorite understable distance drivers?
Never been more readier. Never been readier.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Reed, how useful are understable distance drivers in your disc golf game?
What are they? How many
useful?
How useful? They're very useful. The question I have to ask myself is understable for who?
Yeah.
And understable at what point in their life, I guess, because I bag a lot of discs that would be considered overstable, I think, if we're drafting them, but they're understable now. I think they're very useful. They're not like the type of disc that I tend to throw on lots of holes, but when you need one, of course, nothing else will do, because for us noodle arms that we need these full flight S flights out of a disc, the understable distance driver is the only thing that can get you there.
Absolutely. Josiah, what about you? You can give us some insight on how important understable distance drivers are for your disc golf game?
Understable discs.
Or understable drivers in general, I guess, if you don't use a lot of distance drivers.
Well, so my longest flying disc is what most people would consider a understable disc. Like, it's the like my overstable or stable or even neutral discs, I can't get to go as far as my most understable distance driver. And so I think understable discs are useful because I think for most people, unless you're like elite pros, you're throwing understable discs to get the distance you need. I don't think most people are throwing what most would consider stable discs to get distance. They're throwing something that's going to flip, turn over, or flip and glide straight before fading back, and those are the ones that tend to get you more distance as opposed to more stable discs. So for me, it's super useful when it comes to distance, and with where I live, understable discs are incredibly needed. Not just because I need, what most people consider more understable because of the elevation, but because a lot of the courses out here actually line up better for turnover shots, unless you have crazy forehand distance. And so I don't have crazy forehand distance. So for me, I find myself throwing turnovers just because I can throw farther on a backhand than I can on a forehand. So for me, I need those understable discs just for my game personally, just so I can get a chance at birdie on some of the holes out here.
Absolutely. And by out here, he does mean Colorado.
Yes.
He lives in
great
Colorado for anyone who is not a regular listener.
That's true.
Yeah, sweet. So let's get into it. I have a random number generator pulled up to see who goes first. We'll give Reed number 1, me number 2, and Josiah number 3, and we will generate, and number 2 is going first. Did I give myself number 2?
You did.
Nice. That's good.
Nice.
All right.
Very good.
And then we'll have Reed
be
number 1 and Josiah be number 2 to see who goes second. Generate number 1. Reed goes second.
Nice.
And Josiah goes third. Sweet. Good news is we're doing a snake draft. And Josiah will get to pick twice.
Convenient.
On his turn. So, numero uno for me. There's so many really, really good ones.
What is the 101 in this draft?
We're going to have to talk about... These are our favorites is sort of the criteria we're going with.
Yes.
We're not necessarily going with what the objective best in the game is because that's really tough. So I'm going to go with my one of one that I use the most, that I just sheer use the most, and that is the Discmania DD. I really like the Discmania DD. I would be untrue to myself if I said I do bag a couple of other understable distance drivers that kind of come in and out of the bag. But the DD has been the one for me that just with my noodle arm, I get the most distance out of for an understable driver. The numbers are 11.6, -3.2. And I think it just does have that like slow speed over stableness that I need to where it hooks up at the end. Some people with bigger arms are just, this is a roller disc through and through purely. But for me, I get a really good full S-flight out of this. I throw it on some hyzer, flips up, turns to the right, and when it slows down, it hooks back up over stable for me. Really, really love this disc. It is pretty much, I think, the farthest throws that I get while I'm actually like aiming and playing actual disc golf comes from the DD. And it has that 6 glide, which makes it very, very susceptible to the wind. If it's a windy day, I am not breaking out the DD. But it just does feel like it wants to stay in the air for so long. Really cool disc. And that's what I'm going with. I love House of Discs, S-Line plastic. It's money. Super good. That's my one of one. Let's throw it over to Reed for his number 1 pick. So the DD is now off the table.
Yes,
Reed has to pick something else.
The DD is a great pick. Before my pick, I'm going to need a quick definition of terms. Understable. Okay. How generous are we being with it? Understable, like if the website describes it as stable to understable, is that understable?
That's a good question.
I mean, I think it boils down to opinion a little bit here. Because if we were doing fairway drivers, I would probably have some picks where the flight numbers are actually -1, 2. But I know for a fact that's not how the disc flies. Yeah. And it's really understable.
Yeah, so the disc I want to pick is a disc that for a lot of people flies very straight. But in my opinion is a disc used to throw far and a gentle right turn. So I would say it's on the understable side of distance drivers.
Fair
enough?
It doesn't have to be crazy understable. Like, we're not looking for the most understable disc. Yeah.
Okay, in that case, my 101 is the MVP trail. And it is super good.
Interesting.
I haven't been able to even put one in the bag, but the times that just because I don't have one, but the times that I've been able to throw it on the channel, it is it's right in my wheelhouse as far as like that 7 to 10 speed range, very comfortable in my hand, and it flies so good for me as someone who generally releases on hyzer. It has enough turn to flip up to flat and ride gently to the right. A shot that is very usable, and for the most part, if I don't have the trail, I'm pulling out a mid-range to try to make it happen. But it's so much more effortless with the trail. So that's why I think it's so special. And definitely my 101, as far as just, I think it's very unique among distance drivers.
That's a great pick. I didn't know you were a big fan of the trail. Do you bag a trail?
I don't. I literally want to. I just don't own one. But we've thrown it on the channel, and I love it.
Yeah, I think I might own one. Although we might have given it away, actually.
I think
we give away a lot of the discs that we
gave
get.
the last one away.
Yeah, I like the trail too. It's definitely, I felt like it was more straight flying, but once you get it up to speed, I think it does have some gentle turn. I would agree with the gentle turn there.
Fair enough. I will always accept a veto if they need to come.
No, that totally counts. The trail is probably one of the best-selling MVP discs as of late. That's relative, I guess, but the trail, I think people really like the trail, so that is good. Great pick.
It's such a good disc, yeah.
And I think, especially when it comes to distance drivers, getting it to speed is the key for a lot of these. Because for a lot of people, the DD might be stable, if they are new lines. You asked me 4 years ago, a DD is going to seem stable, like no matter where I am. But like once you get better and get some of these up to the speed of distance drivers, then a lot of these become more understable when you can match the numbers.
Absolutely. All right, Josiah, throwing it to you.
Yeah, I hate you because the DD is like my second favorite disc of all time. So,
dude, love the DD.
I thought you might want that one.
Literally, that is what I throw. If it's over 330 feet, I'm throwing a DD, like 99% of the time. So
pretty much same.
It doesn't matter, and even except for in high winds, that's the only time I don't. But anyway, now that one's off the table, I get two because we're doing a snake draft. So I'm gonna take what I think might show up on your guys' list. I'm trying to go in order of what I think you guys are gonna take now that you took my number one. I'm going to go with the Discraft Hades, which is probably the Discraft equivalent of the DVD.
I actually same.
Yeah, literally
flight
same
numbers, except the Hades is a 12 speed, but it's really the same.
Yes, they're the same. I actually bagged both a Hades and a DD for the long time, and then I realized that they flew basically the same, and so I put the Hades on my shelf as a backup for if I ever lose my DD. So that would probably be my number two for sure. Basically the same disc, exactly what Luke said. For me, it flies a little bit more stable, but I've learned even in Colorado, yes, I can get it to fly how Luke says, flip, turn over a little bit, and then a gentle fade back at the end. But for me, I like throwing it a lot lately on crazy steep hyzers so it never turns over, because then you can just get a whole lot more glide, especially on uphill holes. I've learned.
Yeah.
If I'm throwing flat, I'm going to use that for distance. If I've got an uphill hole, it only needs to be 280 feet, but I'll throw the DD because I'll make sure it gets the glide to stay going uphill the whole time if I throw it just on a lot of steep hyzer. And it's way easier than throwing a stable disc where it's just going to crash midway up the hill. You want that glide going up the hill, so that's where I like the DD or the Hades a lot. Same flight. So yeah, that's my number one. Number two, for me, I am going to pick not exactly the same flight as the MVP Trail, but I'm taking the MVP Wave.
Nice.
Okay.
which is I believe 11.5 -2.2. And for some people, again, it can be a little stable. For me, it flies really nice as a distance turnover disc. So if I need something to, I throw on slight highs or a flat, and it'll just stay turning and maybe pan out and flatten at the end. It's got about the same distance as the Hades, but it still flies really far. But it's also a little bit more controlling, I think, because I feel like with the Hades, you have to put a little bit more spin on it in order to get the flight you want out of it. The wave, is much easier to get the flight you want out of it for that turnover. So that's my second pick.
That's a great pick.
Yep.
If you like, I think if you really like overmolded discs, the wave is like as good as it gets for distance drivers. In that, I mean, for understable distance drivers, really for any distance driver, I feel like it's one of the most beloved distance drivers for anything overmolded. They are coming out with some pretty solid overstable ones now too, but that's a great pick. Love the wave. It's truly an incredible disc. No arguments here.
No arguments. Back to me then.
Reed, back to you.
I'm stuck between. I have two that are kind of interchangeable for me here, and one might get picked if I let it slip. So a little bit of draft strategy to make sure I get my favorites here. But I'm going to pick. I think it's my third favorite understable distance driver, but it's one that I think Luke might take.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go with the Discraft Scorch. You may not have been on your radar, Luke, but I couldn't risk it. Scorch.
No, I do like the Scorch.
The Scorch for me is a disc that when it came out, it was like, oh, this is that disc that I've been looking for because I was bagging a Hades at the time, and the Hades is just that, like, I this is well documented at this point that I don't like 12 speeds. I do bag a couple of 13 speeds, but that's besides the point. I don't really like 12 speeds, and the 11 speed rim on it just being that much, just a little bit easier to hold, a little bit easier to get my entire hand around and get a full throw in with it. And it flies really nice, and getting it up to speed feels easier for me than the Hades in particular. And then I also felt like the Scorch was something that for me, when the Crystal Z ones came out, I was able to get a more predictably, I guess, S-flight out of it, rather than my Hades would continually beat up and they would continually become more and more understable throughout their life, to the point where they would just never fight back. I think every time I've thrown Scorches, they have stayed reliable for a long time. They'll turn, they're understable, but they'll fight back. So I really enjoy the Scorch.
Yeah, great pick.
Yeah,
that was on my list.
I will say, the Scorch was not going to be on my list. I did think about it, and I just personally, I don't know what it is. I feel like every now and then there's just something completely subjective when you pick up a disc and you throw it and totally. you fall in love with it, or you just really don't like it. And the Scorch for me was one that, like, I threw it and I was like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know why, but it's not doing it for me like the DD or a couple of other discs that I'm about to throw down right now.
Dude, we had side note, we did have that one Scorch we reviewed on the channel that was a Firebird. And we get that every now and then.
That's
I can't
true,
remember what plastic
we had, like,
that
a
was,
beefy
but that
Scorch.
was crazy. That
might have thrown me
super
off,
weird.
yeah. That might be the one that did it for me. I can't remember, but I do remember just for some reason, like, even having the opportunity to pick up a Scorch here and there, and I was like, I don't want a Scorch. I don't like it. I don't like the way it flies. And maybe I was thinking it was overstable. I don't know.
Yeah.
The
Crystal Z ones were pretty flippy when they first came out.
Yes. Those were super understable. I remember putting one in Will's hand that we got, and I think it was like a Crystal Flex one or something like that. So Will is a friend of ours who's helped us with some videos on the channel, and he threw it, and it was basically a roller. Like, it turned
Just
from a hyzer into a
immediately.
roller, and he was like, dude, what in the world? And I was like,
What
yeah,
the what?
that's crazy.
That's awesome.
So, interesting. I think I'm about to put down 2 back-to-back Discraft discs that I think we're overlooking and are the best. I mean, the Hades is really probably the best-ish, but I think these are the 2 best Understable Discraft offerings for distance drivers. And since I get to pick twice, we're going first with the Thrasher,
Of course.
the
Yes.
OG Hades. It's basically a Hades. It technically has 1 less glide, and I think that might be true. I don't know if it's actually 1 less glide or if it's just like that tiniest bit less overstable. But the Thrasher is, I mean, truly the best introduction to understable distance drivers you can possibly have. Super comfortable disc. So many plastics it comes in. Discraft is obviously top of the line with that, and I don't know, super seamless, comfortable hand feel. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just your normal.
Nothing.
If you need a 12 speed that's understable, that's gonna flip up, that's gonna go far for anybody who has like just enough arm speed to throw a distance driver. The Thrasher is for you. Absolutely sick disc.
You're gonna take my other one, aren't you?
I might take your other one because the second one is possibly the most popular distance driver in Discraft's lineup, and that is the Avenger SS.
Yep. That's it.
Yep. We all saw it coming.
I went
My
back and
number
forth between
3.
picking that one or the Wave, and I thought you were going to take the Wave. So
Yeah, no. I was definitely going to pick the Hades at some point, and I was thinking the Wave or something MVP.
Yeah.
But I'm putting down 2 Discraft discs back to get back, and I know there's some really great other discs. I'm saving them, so I have 2 picks left. So the Thrasher is my number 2. The Avenger SS is my number 3. Definitely, the numbers are 10, 5, -3, 1. Depending on what plastic you get, it's even more understable than that somehow. This is a really good disc for actual beginners who just want to get a feel for what it's like to have a distance driver in your hand. I remember picking up the 4-pack Discraft starter set. Was probably my first set of discs I ever actually invested in buying myself. It came with a magnet. I don't even remember what mid-range it came with. The X-Line starter set, and it came with an Avenger SS, and it came with a Heat. The Heat was super good. The Avenger SS, for me, even at that time, just starting out in disc golf, not even being able to throw 300 feet, I was getting great distance out of it. I was getting like full S-flights. It's just something to teach you, even though you're probably not throwing it to its full potential as a beginner. And I know we talk about all the time, you need to learn on putters and not throw anything other than putters in mid-ranges. I think it's good to learn the mechanics of throwing a distance driver and throwing a hyzer flip. Even early on, it can help you just see what you're doing wrong. And the Avenger SS does that perfectly. It will definitely show you what you're doing wrong. And then in more premium plastics, it's just a beginner bomber or it's a roller. It's just a fantastic roller. Players on the Pro Tour consistently bag the Avenger SS as a roller disc. It's just one of the best understable discs on the market in general. So we're going with the Avenger SS as my number 3.
Very good pick.
And then we'll throw it over to Reed. Yeah.
Very good pick. I will move to a disc that I knew you weren't going to take because, well, you guys both love the DD from this company, from Discmania. So this one I felt was safe and is way more in my wheelhouse as far as the distance driver is concerned. I have a lot of love for it when before when it was an Innova mold and they retooled it and re-released it, and it flies basically the same. It's so good still, and that's the TD from Discmania. It's so good. It is flippier than the Trail, but it's also a 10-speed, so it flies. For me, guys, like, I just rarely go over that speed, especially when throwing backhand, and I'm really not throwing an understable distance driver unless it's on backhand. And this thing just bombs. It is pretty flippy. when you beat it up, it can be a roller for you, but really what it is just a big old turning driver. That's what TD stands for, the OGs know.
Yeah.
And it is it's a great disc. We reviewed them in the S line, but back in the day I had an old C line one that was a money roller disc. So lots of love for the TD. And I think it gets slept on because the DD is so fantastic and they have just like a really full lineup. So especially when you take in like the Essence and some other discs that are competing at those close to those speeds. So the TD is underused, but it's super good.
No, that's a great point. I also love the just one speed below that CD one, which is a 9-speed.
Yes.
And I don't think we're qualifying 9 speeds as distance drivers, although a lot of companies would. But we're just, for the sake of this video, not going to. But the CD flies a lot like the TD, just one tick down in speed. Discmania does those kind of discs very, very well.
Oh, yeah.
Great pick.
That was
Josiah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, we're just ripping Josiah's picks.
Literally, I think you guys have just been going back and forth taking my list.
Some good discs, man. Some good discs.
I know. Are we doing 5 total?
5 total, 5 per
total.
person.
Okay. In that case, I am going for sure to take the Latitude 64 Sapphire next.
Nice. Yeah, that's a
my
classic.
list. Really good disc, really helpful. Sapphire is in their lightweight lineup, so it's typically both understable and lightweight. Super flippy, super really good. It's kind of if you need a flippy distance, like for me, I'll use it to throw over trees if I need to throw something. So I can throw it flat, a little nose up, but not nose up, but like if you throw it flat and like with a good nose angle, it'll just hit the top of those trees and immediately start turning over. So it's helpful for like get out of jail situations for distance and things like that. But that is a really good, especially for beginners as well. If you're just starting into disc golf and you don't want to, do what you should do and throw putters and mids, and you're like, no, I got to throw a distance driver. It says distance on it. Then throw the Sapphire. That'll be a really good choice for getting into that. That whole lightweight lineup from Latitude 64 is really good.
Yes. I love that they put out lightweights. We don't talk about that a ton, but really, I mean, it's mostly because they're so difficult to find.
Yeah.
Companies are getting better at it. Discraft is putting out their like Z Light lineup, and these discs in lightweight just fly completely different.
Yes.
And they're super highly sought after, and Latitude 64 does do great job at putting out some lightweight discs.
Oh yeah. For my 4th pick, I am going to take the Innova Mamba.
Nice. That was going to be my next one.
That was going to be my next pick.
Yeah,
That's
a
good one, bro.
Typically throw a lot of Innova, but there's this kid at our local league who there's a 480-foot par. It's not a par 3. It's listed as a par 3. It's like a crazy soft par 4 or an insanely difficult par 3, and I've only seen it I've only seen a 2 on it once in my life. I've seen a lot of people try for it. I've only seen a 2 at once. It's this 14-year-old kid who threw a Mamba over the trees and parked it. It was like a 10-foot putt. And I was just like, what did you just throw? Because it had the flight that I needed, and it was the Innova Mamba. So really good if you're just trying to this falls into the like easy distance category, where I think if you're trying to get some distance, it's almost like effortless to get distance on this one.
Yeah.
So Innova Mamba. That's my 4th pick.
Heck yeah.
That's a great pick. That was definitely going to be my next pick, because I can't have people just thinking we hate Innova on this channel.
I definitely
because we don't.
I think I don't. It's not even in my bag right now. I have it, but I don't bag it. But that is one of my top 3, top 4 Innova discs.
I will say my only beef with the Innova Mamba is that -5 is just a lie. It's straight up not true. at all.
Not at
It's
all.
possibly, if you get a DX Mamba, it'll fly like a -5 disc. It's truly a fantastic disc that flies very understable, but you can put it side by side with any of these other distance drivers that we're saying are understable, and it's very similar to slightly more understable. Like if you put it side by side to a Thrasher, you might be like, yeah, this is a good bit more understable. But -5.1, I believe it is the flight numbers. That's crazy talk. It is definitely not that understable. So know if you're picking one up, it's not like if you're a beginner and you're learning to throw distance drivers, it's probably not going to be that understable for you. And maybe I did have a Halo. I had a Halo plastic Mamba, and I was like, this thing is basically a DD, or it's like maybe a Thrasher like equivalent. Not only is it not a -5, it's like a -2.1 maybe, or a -3.1, but -5 is crazy. I don't know many other discs that have a -5 turn. I don't know if there are any. Okay, even like the roll, maybe the Rollo has -5, but I think the Rollo discs like that have -4, -3.
Yeah, I think you really only get a -5 if it's a lower speed disc.
Yeah.
You can get crazy flippy mids and
I don't know.
putters. But
Wild.
like,
Either way, really good
Even
disc.
then, I don't know.
It was definitely going to be my next pick. Love the Mamba.
Yeah.
And now we're going to. So that was your fourth and or
that was
how
just
many
my
was
third
that?
and fourth.
Third and
Third
fourth.
and fourth.
So sweet. Josiah's going to have one more pick. Reed has 2 more picks.
I have 2 more. All right, here we go. So, yeah, I wanted the Mamba. I wanted something in the lineup that is like the Mamba. And if it can't be the Mamba, there's a few others I can think of. One from DGA, actually, but I'm not going to take that one. I am going to take the one that...
That's a -5, isn't it? That's also a lie.
I've never thrown it, so I couldn't pick that one.
Yes.
I'm not going to pick it
for a
because I
while.
have thrown it, and I will
See if the listeners can have guessed what we were talking about.
The listeners can go look it up. I did say DGA, so but the one that I want is a little bit niche. It's a very popular company now, but this was one of their very first molds, and it was my first mold and my first exposure to the company that now is a absolute staple in my bag. The disc is no longer in my bag, but the company is a staple in my bag, and that'll be the Mint Discs Freetail.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Is a 10 speed with -4 turn, extremely understable disc. And I remember seeing the little stamp with like the little dragon guy on it when I first was exposed to this company, and it was in this Eternal plastic. I'm pretty sure it was already being manufactured by MVP at that point. So very pretty sparkly plastic, and grabbed it and loved it right away, and then went and bought an Alpha the next day because I was like, this company is awesome. These discs are great. The Freetail didn't last long. It is in the water on hole 17 on Alexander, along with many of my other discs. So some would say it's not understable enough. But that's besides the point. It's a fantastic disc and really slept on. And yeah, like I said, Mint Disc had to get some love in this draft because they're like my go-to now for pretty much every spot in my bag.
Yeah. Great pick.
Yeah, it's good to give some Mint Discs some love. They have an awesome lineup. I love the Longhorn, which I think is -1 too. It's not technically understable, but kind of understable. Yeah. Super good disc. And I haven't thrown the Freetail, but I might need to try it because Mint Discs is super high quality, really cool, fun branding, solid plastic, great discs, great lineup. Awesome, that's a great pick. I have 2 back-to-back picks, I think, for my last picks. And it's kind of hard. A lot of mine have been taken at this point. I unfortunately don't think I'm going to have an Innova disc on the list, which is a bummer. But
I got you. Don't worry.
I could have picked the Sidewinder. if we were including 9 speeds, but I think we're not including 9 speeds. I'm definitely not going to pick something like the Groove or something crazy like that. I'm not a psychopath.
not a psychopath.
No, I'm just kidding. If you like the Groove, different strokes for different folks, that's great.
Good for you.
I'm picking a disc that I believe is out of production. Also, by the way, the disc that Reed was referring to is the Sail, which I forgot.
Yes.
The Sail also, I do think, has -5 turn.
Yeah.
Also a lie. But I think it's low-key closer than... Maybe it's just because it's, I don't know, higher speed and it makes me want to really rip on it. But I think it's closer to -5 than the Mamba is. It's all subjective because different runs of them will fly differently. I definitely I bagged a Sail for a little bit just because it was kind of a roller disc for me. But -5 was still, I don't know. It doesn't feel that much different than a disc that's like -3.1 or -3.2 even. That's a tangent. But my pick is out of production, I think. And when they were in production, they didn't even have flight numbers. So it's kind of hard to say it's Understable. But I'm looking on Disc Golf Deal's website for it, and I found them. They sell them. They're available in different plastics even. And it's the Prodigy X3. Yeah. I used to have
the X3 is
a Prodigy X3 that didn't have any flashing on it. And it flew phenomenally.
You're lying.
It was a crusher disc really for me as a really not beginner but lower level amateur. The X3 crushed. It flew understable for me at least. Not as understable as like a DD or even a Thrasher. So Disc Golf Deals USA's website has the old, I'm looking at the blue Katrina Allen X3 and I can feel my hand being cut by it, but the blue 400G plastic, they have that listed as 11.5 -2.2. And I think that stands pretty properly. I would have put it at a -2.2 or a -1.2 maybe. And I think that's what, if you just find X3s anywhere else in other plastics, they'll say 12.5, 12.6, -1.2. But similar to the Drive, I think they have a very similar flight to the Drive, which sometimes you'll get a run of Drive that's more understable. The prototypes, I think, were pretty understable. I personally had an X3 that was nice and understable. I wasn't getting it to pan really hard to the right or anything, but I could throw it on hyzer and it would flip to flat. Or if I threw it flat, it would turn a little bit. It was money. Such a good disc. They don't make them anymore. Looking at Prodigy's website, it looks like they've resorted to minimizing to only their distance drivers that they call the like D1, D2, D3, D4, D6. I don't know what happened to D5, but the D4, the D4 is 12.5 -2.2. So I guess that would be the equivalent and what you got now. But X3s are still readily available. You can buy them. Yeah. Finding them without flashing might be literally impossible, but if you can, they're buttery. And that's it.
Did you pick twice?
Oh, no, that was just one. That was just one, right. I have a couple other options for my last one that I'm jumping back and forth between. I famously or infamously don't love overmolded discs. When it comes to distance drivers specifically, overmolded putters are the best putters on the planet, I'm convinced. Mid-ranges, also kind of love those. Fairway drivers start to be kind of uncomfortable for me. And then distance drivers are kind of wacky, the way the rim feels so separate from the flight plate for me personally. Again, just personal thing. But the Vanish, which I think is Axiom.
Yes.
Yeah,
that was my next pick. So yes.
And yeah, the Vanish, very understable. I don't actually have it in front of me because I was just thinking about it, but I believe the flight numbers are something along the lines of 11.5, -3.2. It's very understable, very high speed understable. So if you really rip on it, it is turning and burning, but that it again has that 2 fade, kind of similar to the DD. Once it slows down, if you don't have a huge arm speed, and it's kind of slowing down at the end of its flight, it hooks up. It's a really, really cool disc. The rim isn't too crazy. I think 11 speed is like the very end of what I can actually comfortably hold in my hand. And I say comfortably pretty loosely. I didn't even love the trail. I felt the rim was really exaggerated. And again, that's total personal preference. The trail is beloved by most people who play disc golf. And honestly, though, I tried the Simon Line time lapse, and I don't know what it was about that, but the rim felt a lot more seamless. It felt skinnier for some reason. But yes, the Vanish, I have it pulled up now, 11.5, -3.2. Really understable. And you can always, if you want to tick up that stability, just buy a glow plastic Vanish. And first off, it's going to last you the rest of your life. And it'll be a little bit more overstable, and it'll glow. Sometimes it glows blue. Axiom's just the best, truly. They have like the best products on the market, and the Vanish is no exception. That's my last pick. There we go.
I want to add on the Vanish because that was going to be my pick. So
yes.
I own a Total Eclipse Vanish, so it's the Glow Flight Plate and Glow Rim, and it is more like 11.5 -1.2. It is much more overstable.
Yeah,
so keep that in mind. Yeah. But I will say, I feel like because some of the Vanish runs do run overstable, they're good for forehands because you can still like rip a forehand and it'll flip a little bit, but because some of them are more stable, they'll get that initial flip and then you'll get an S flight from a forehand. So if you're trying to do forehand distance, I think that is where a Vanish actually comes really good into play.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we got a Gyropalooza Total Eclipse Vanish or something like that.
My bag.
Yeah, super sick disc.
Yeah,
super
it's
fun.
in my bag.
Awesome. That's my last one. Let's go to Reed.
I got one more. Before I get into my last one, I have to make a special shout out to that X3 pick from Luke because it wasn't even on my radar, but I just turned behind me and grabbed an old school Katrina Allen flower stamped X3.
Ooh, yeah.
You threw that so much.
And this came from, it's got 3 signature stamps on the back. This came from one of those old Prodigy mystery boxes. They used to do 10 discs.
Those were great.
For, I think, $40. Am I right about that? It was like $40 for 10 discs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's an insane deal. RIP those days. That was so good. And they were like all premium too.
Yeah, anyway, they used to do misprint mystery boxes, and I got one that was like 3 discs for I think $20 or $15 or something like that, and I was like, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, we used to buy those all the time and like split them and do unboxings. Good times. My number 5, I can't actually find it, but I have an Arby's version of this disc because my aunt works at Arby's and she brought it home to me.
That's
she was
hilarious.
Like, this is for you. I don't know. We just had them laying around the house or laying around the office. It is a Streamline Jet. And I had never really even heard of it until I got the Arby's one, which is funny because I mean it's a really cool disc, but the lineup for me kind of ended with the lift.
Yep.
And I didn't know it went well. I guess there's what's the 12s or the 11 speed overstable one. I can't remember what that's called.
The Trace. Or wait,
the
you said
Trace.
overstable?
Yeah, the Trace. Yeah, the Trace. Yeah, so I knew about that one. I didn't know they had this jet, and it is really cool. It's in my practice bag, I think. So it's somewhere. I can't get it right now, but 11 speed. I think it's -3.2. But yeah, staying with my trend of 12 speed equals bad. 11 speed, the jet, and I get the MVP manufacturing, but avoid the overmold. Boom! That's how we get it done right there. The jet is awesome. There's not much more to say there. It's kind of slept on and has a unique hand feel for an 11 speed, so I will say that. But it's just a great disc.
That's a fantastic pick. Low key, really Streamline might have my favorite discs out of all the lineups, aside from like the Axiom putter lineup. The Axiom Envy Proxy is too good, but as far as like Streamline has the Lift, which is an understable 9-speed that is so good. The Ascend, understable 6-speed, so incredible. I mean, it's probably just the Axiom versions literally without, the Axiom equivalents literally with, it's an Insanity and it's a Crave or whatever, or not a Crave. I don't know, 6.5, -3. 0.5 is the Ascend. You have the Drift, 7.5, negative 2.1.
The Drift,
incredible.
Yep.
The Trace, incredible. The Jet is a really good pick, super awesome. And they have the good putters. I mean, the Pilot is super good. The Echo, the Runway, the Range now. Streamline, I don't want to sound like a hipster, but Streamline might be my favorite. If it wasn't for things like the Proxy and the Envy, I guess all the putters are just incredible. The Ohm, the Ion, the Anode, those over-molded putters feel so incredible. But Streamline's great.
Yeah, Streamline also has the Flare, the Runway.
Yes, yep.
The Stabilizer. Yeah, no, it's super good lineup.
Yeah, if you don't like overmolds, Streamline's seriously possibly the best the best discs out there.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Josiah, final pick.
Last one, baby.
So I didn't have Prodigy on my radar either at all. Just I don't think I've thought about Prodigy since I started cutting my hand. And I stuck them all in my kitchen. But I also need to give a shout out not to the X3. I'm gonna call an honorable mention real quick to a very special H4 V2.
Dude,
that I
yeah.
got Reed way back in the day. And the only reason I remember this is because I bagged it for a little bit, and Reed was like, "Oh, let me throw it off hole one at Alexander one time." And Reed is the most hyzer disc thrower I have ever met. Like, everything he throws is always on hyzer, like forehand or backhand. And this dude threw this H4 V2 on hyzer on a backhand and almost put it in the water. And if you have ever played at Alexander Park, you don't really.
There's no water on
the
that.
Water's not really in play.
One.
It's about 300 feet straight to the right of the tee pad, not facing the basket.
It was one of the craziest throws I've ever seen, and that's how flippy it was. But yeah, so just a shout out to that. But my fifth pick actually is going to be the Legacy Discs Nemesis.
Ooh,
let's go.
Deep cut. Love Legacy discs.
Deep cut. So
manufactured by Innova, I think.
Yes.
So
That's
shout
right.
out to Innova.
That's right.
We'll give them two of them.
Deep cut.
But-
Shout out Innova.
Luke, desperate to shout out Innova.
Yes.
The reason I have this disc on my list is so this is the first understable distance driver that my wife ever threw when she first got into disc golf.
Nice.
So Rebecca threw this a lot, and she loved it. And this was one of the first discs she ever threw into the water because she turned it over more than she thought she could. So that's where, like, when I say understable, like, we got water on the right, and she's used to throwing it flat and straight, and this thing just turned right and sailed into the water, and she was very sad because now she didn't have any understable 10 speeds. And so that's, like, where this disc comes from. We both threw it a lot, and it helps a lot with learning just kind of understable discs, and especially when you're getting into beginner. The flight numbers are weird. It's a 10, 6, -4, 2. I have
Interesting.
I do not know another disc that has these flight numbers, and I do not think these flight numbers are accurate. Similar to most
can't
flight numbers.
possibly be.
Yeah.
No,
That's
that's
insane.
just like, it's literally impossible to have 6 glide, 4 turn, and 2 fade. That just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's wacky.
I think it flew more like a 10-5, -3, 1 is more like what it was, where it would flip and turn over, but it would have some slight stability at the end. But super solid disc. Shout out Legacy. I haven't thrown many of their discs. We did them for a tournament years back, but this was a really good distance driver.
Yeah. I really like those tournament discs.
Oh yeah. It kind of flies under the radar as far as distance understable discs, but this is a really good beginner one, especially if you can find a lower weight.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great pick. I love the honorable mention too. I bagged an H7 from Prodigy for a while, and I think that was the most understable driver I've ever had. -4 turn on that. That's why I think these other discs with -5 are a lie, because I'm like, the Prodigy H7 was one that I genuinely had a hard time not getting to turn right. Like, that's how you know it's the most understable. Is like, you try and throw on a ton of hyzer, and it still turns to the right. And it had -4.1 is what they call it. But great picks.
if their production stayed the same, I'd probably have 2 Prodigy drivers on this list.
Yeah.
If their
Honestly,
quality was
yeah.
still up to par.
And
Dude,
I think they're getting
H4
back to that
V2.
quality.
Yeah.
H4
H4V2, so money.
First ace on Swanky
Oh,
Disc Golf
yes,
channel.
yeah.
One of the first
Misprint.
videos of our history. H4V2.
Heck yeah.
Dude, so good. Thank you guys so much for listening. Let us know what we missed. You can comment on our podcast on Spotify anyways. You can leave us a review on Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, and you can leave us a comment on YouTube. Let us know what your favorite Understable distance driver is, and we're going to give away a disc. It's not an Understable distance driver, but it is an Understable driver. We have a special run of Ozone from Trash Panda that we use for a tournament that have a Swanky stamp on them. We're gonna give away one of these awesome, super sick. It's an 8-speed technically, Understable 8-speed Trash Panda Ozones. There's gonna be a Google form linked below. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel, like the video, and enter the Google form to try and win this disc. Again, thank you so much for watching and listening. Let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one. Stay swanky.
Stay swanky.
Stay swanky.